Path to Outsider, Part 2, Thinking Visual. This was probably the funnest, sorry, that's not a word, I don't think, the most fun, the most enjoyable, the sort of part of a creative process that really gets me excited, or rather, the part of creativity that gets me more excited, something where I'm like really pushing my boundaries. Sort of like songwriting is, to me, it feels like it's something that I just haven't learned, and I have to just drill and practice, and I can feel it slowly making more sense. I think this Thinking Visual will be like that as well, but it's like so much, it's so subjective, and it's like it's all in your head, you know. So what I'm referring to is, with this song, I really tried to, as soon as I began writing it and things are starting to take shape, before I went too far, I was like, all right, cool, how can I have something to ground this song? What can I use to, you know, when I'm making decisions, because I knew inevitably I would be making more creative decisions as the song went on. And I was like, I want a way to, you know, have a core, like a nucleus to sort of keep referring to. And sometimes it's like the name of the track or the emotion that's really obvious, and you sort of keep referencing that, or it's just channeled in the song and you're riding that vibe. But with this one, what I wanted to do was, create somewhat of a actual visual image or scene or setting to try and set the mood and keep in my head as I was writing. And so, you know, after listening to the instrumental a bunch of times and the lyrics and what I was saying, I eventually sort of, in my head, just had a bit of a vision of like a Western sort of cowboy sort of fella riding on his horse in the sunset, just in the desert, just sort of his home behind him, just being a bit of an outsider, just galloping off into the sunset, just chasing a journey, chasing a dream, on a quest, whatever it may be. You know, no real emotion in terms of like anything too negative or positive about what's happening, but just more the rawness of like that scene, I guess. And so that's what I used to sort of keep bringing myself back to what I was trying to do, what I was trying to say, how I wanted it to feel. And that idea then evolved into like, you know, it created a life of its own in terms of the outsider, the guy riding by his own, living by his own law, just obviously not part of the pack. And then, so that was one part of it that just really helped govern decisions. And then the second part was, I sort of came to a place with the song. I'm listening back after a few mixes, and I'm like, all right, cool, sounding good. And I just felt like it needed like some extra life or character or dimension. I don't know what the correct word would be, but I channeled back to that image. And as I'm listening to the song, thinking about Old Mate on his horse, I'm like, I start seeing birds, you know, vultures, eagles in the sky, like in a desert sky, flying up above. And it just really set the mood a little bit extra and made it feel a bit more like edgy and barren. And so, I went back into the song and started adding in some bird noises, not like nice, delicate singing birds, you know, like eagle screams sort of thing, you know, really, really intense, really like shit's going down. And it's subtle in some bits and it's more obvious in others, but I think overall it keeps it with this extra bit of character. And especially because like you push the bird noises out so far to the edges, it opens the whole track up a little bit as well. So the big takeaway was obviously just having a thinking visual, having something to ground the decision making with something that is sound, you know, because it's really hard after, like, when you're just listening over and over and over and over and over again to refresh your perspective of what you're trying to hear and what you're trying to do and what you're trying to achieve with a song, or just a particular vocal EQ, or how you want the kick to sound, like whatever it is. And so having something like, for example, the 808, when I went back through and mixed that, I really like tried to make it thud a bit more and just like be a bit more thick. I just was thinking about the desert, and it was just too bouncy and poppy originally. So I tried to really make it just like feel just a bit more dense, I guess you'd say. But that's part 2.